Hey everyone, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Jeff. Um, right now, I'm in Queenstown, New Zealand. Quick little peek. So I've been traveling on and off for the last 3 years. And during that time, I've had a lot of people tell me, you should be like a blogger, you should have a podcast, something along those lines of you should be expressing your thoughts to people. But as you can tell already, I speak a lot with my hands, and so I think that a video is the best way for me to express myself, because I think that it gives you guys a visual representation of how I am, portraying this. So initially, I was going to talk about the focus of this podcast, and then at the end of it, my life, and then a story about my travels. But we're just going to do this program for now, and then I'll do one about my life, and the story about my travels is just a good story as a separate one, so that it's not too long and I can take a break. So we'll just jump into it. So this program is just something through my time speaking with other people from around the world, hearing their viewpoints about the issues that their countries have, the good things that they like about their countries. I've talked to, positives and negatives about the US. I think that this would help a lot of people, especially with the coronavirus going around, and a lot of people are worried, how am I going to pay my bills if I don't work, especially service industry people. I think it would change their lives for the better. I also think it would change the mentality of a lot of people to, now you're more of a socially good country and you're working towards a social good. I just think it would slowly start to tweak things a little bit. So basically the program would be, if you work for the government in a socially good aspect, so that could be you're a teacher, university professor, doctor, nurse, healthcare administrator, construction worker who's retrofitting buildings with green technology, construction workers going in, rebuilding dilapidated areas of the country. If you're a worker who is rebuilding our rail network in order to make nationwide high-speed rails, any farmers, obviously, any kind of thing like that, where it's something you're doing is now contributing to the betterment of the community in a tangible way. Obviously, teaching's not necessarily tangible, but it's a different issue. So if you're working in one of these jobs for 2 days a week, you'll get free food, free education, free healthcare, and free housing. And so I'll spend a bit of time talking about each one of those things and what you would get and how it would work. So I guess we'll start with food, because that's probably the most important one right now. People are worried about not being able to afford food, because how do you get food if you're living paycheck to paycheck and now your job is gone? You don't. So this program is designed so that you don't have to worry about losing your job. You'll have 2 days of work a week, and then you'll have 5 days to be a capitalist. And so in those 5 days, you can make your money doing whatever you want to do. It would also put pressure on companies to be more reasonable in the way that they treat their employees. It's if you're working 2 days a week and you don't have to worry about food, housing, or medical care, education is not for everyone. If you don't have to worry about those three things, and a company's treating you like crap, F off. I don't need you. I don't need this job. I have this other program that's now providing all my basic necessities. I'll go do that for a little bit while I find a job that isn't going to take advantage of me, that isn't going to treat me like absolute crap. And, especially with Corona going on, people are working from home, people this, that, and the other. They're seeing really, truly how badly companies treat them. So cycle back, go to food. So this would be food that is all vegetarian. So you would get your pastas, your rices, seasonings, fruits, veggies, bread, like stuff like that. Basically for free every week. And so ultimately, how much food do you really eat? A lot of it goes to waste, and supermarkets throw away about 50% of the produce that they produce or that they have in their store. So imagine that. You walk into a grocery store, 50% of the produce that you see gets tossed, gets unused. Meanwhile, we have homeless, starving. We have kids in New York that they can't shut down the schools because those kids are unable to get meals elsewhere. Like, how do we throw away 50% of our produce and we have kids that can't have food? Speechless. Like, it's just mind-blowing to me that that's the way that we have now accepted that that's okay. But regardless, so you would get, I don't know, maybe 5 pounds of food a week. I don't know how much people eat. I don't eat that much, but so you would get these bags of food with all of the necessities that you need, onions, peppers, this, that, and the other. And it's like, if you want to buy meat, now you have 5 days a week to be a capitalist. You can use that money to buy your meat. Factory farming is outlawed. That's an atrocity against animals. It's unhealthy. It's a waste of resources. It's a joke. But yeah, so you would just walk into the grocery store. You would have already gone online, said, I don't like this vegetable or this vegetable. All right, well, what would you like in replacement of that? I like extra of this and extra of this. All right, you walk in, everything's already been pre-made. Everything's already been aggregated for you. You walk in, scan, your government issued card, your ID has, that you participate in the program. There you go. Here's your food for the week. If you need more, come back. So that kind of takes care of food. Education, state-sponsored education. For me, the only one I really know about would be community college and then the Cal State program. If you're participating in this program, you get to go for free. If you're currently a student participating in this program, you have to put in 1 day of work a week. You're a student, you're in theory trying to better yourself. You're in theory making strides to improve yourself. As is having previously been a student, I know that it's difficult to balance work and studying. And so I think that's a fair thing. If you're a student, 1 day of work, you get the benefits. And once you're done, then you switch to 2 days. Fine, fair enough. And if once you're done, you don't want to participate, you don't have to. That's fine. And so that's education. That's an easy one. Like, healthcare. I think that's pretty obvious. We're talking about Medicare for all. That's kind of the new thing. So instead of paying taxes, you're paying with your time of work. It's the exact same thing. No difference. But then people might ask, well, what if I'm a nurse or a doctor right now? And I'm a full-time nurse and that's how I make my money. In theory, during this, I now have 2 days of work that's going to benefit me and then 3 days of work that do nothing for me. Yes and no. So if you are working in one of these already socially acceptable or socially progressive roles, teachers, farmers, whatever, nurses, instead of, there's two thoughts to this for me. One, people aren't going to participate in this program. There will be people that make too much money that are like, I don't need this, I'm not going to do this. So when they come in, you automatically get, or they're going to have to pay the same that they're paying now. That's not going to change. Health insurance systems are not going to change for those people. So for that, now you're getting the same amount of pay from those people that you would be getting anyway. So if you go and you treat this person, however much you would normally get paid from this treatment, whatever, you get that pro rata share. And then there's a secondary thought that I've had, that just taxing these companies with products instead of money. So if you are an airline who does business in the US, you have to just give, I don't know, an international flight there and an international flight back for these people's vacation. What if I, want clothes? Again, these companies that produce too much, like, you just kind of have to give clothes to these people. Obviously, you're not going to get an unlimited amount. Nobody has an unlimited amount now unless you're one of the extremely wealthy. But that's not the nurses. So it would just be like, you just kind of get stuff. I want a portable charger. All right, this is a quality portable charger that on average costs $25. Every nurse in the US gets one. Stuff like that. Stuff that's just like basic sense, that you get certain goods for doing more, but it's not an unreasonable amount of goods, and it's not a minimum amount of goods. It's what you need and what you want, but not to an excess. So it's food, education, healthcare, and then housing. So housing's an easy one. Obviously, like, you just go and you have these people that are building 2 days a week to go and help build excess housing. Like, it's not that hard. You just have to build quality housing, which, again, it's not that hard. I used to work in real estate finance. I've worked on the development side of real estate finance. I know the way that these people go about building, and it's just ridiculous. It's like you spend all this money to portray that these are quality apartments, but then you can still hear your neighbors through the wall. And it's like, I think most people worry, like, oh, well, how can I afford a house and this and that. It's like, you don't need a house. If you had a family of 4 and a 3-bedroom apartment with quality thick walls and a nice spacious living room, to where you can go, you can sit with your family, you can play with them, you can have their toys, whatever. You can go to the playground downstairs. You can go to the community playground and play with your kids there. And then they get to play with their other kids. And then they make friends. And then you sit and you talk to the parents. And then the community starts coming together, rather than, I have my backyard and I have my personal playpen there and I go there and I don't go to the community one because that's blah, 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 blah. It's too poor for me to do that. Like, no, bullshit. If people are worried too much about impressions and this, that, and the other, I think that mindset is generally changing. In a sense, I think it's also changing because kids my age just can't afford super luxury stuff generally, unless that you are making a substantial amount of money. But, yeah. So that kind of takes care of all 4 aspects. That's what you would basically get if you want to participate in this program. I kind of mentioned international travel. One question might be like, what about domestic travel? What about cars and this, that, and the other? I don't think cars are really necessary. You have places, China, Japan, they have trains that go 150, 160 miles an hour. And, if you could walk, not even walk, if you can walk to your local metro station, which part of the program, these people are building public transit. They're redoing our rail system into a high-speed rail system. You could walk to your local metro station, go to your main Union station at, for me, LA Union, San Francisco has Union. I think everywhere it's Union Station. Go to your Union Station and then jump on a train to New York. And even if it takes 9 hours to get to New York on the train, would you rather sit on a train for 9 hours, or would you rather have to worry about getting a car or a bus or whatever, go to the airport, make sure you're there 2 hours early, at least 2 hours, have to stand in line to check your bag. Then, now you have to go, oh, my bag is a pound over. Oh, it's a $150 fee. Deal with it. What else are you gonna do? You're not gonna take this bag, you're gonna go home and you're gonna unpack a pound's worth of stuff. You're fucked. You just go to your union, walk onto the train, and you sit on the train. Yeah, maybe it takes 9 hours, but if you look at the time investment, it takes you 40 minutes to get to the airport. You're sitting in the airport for 2 hours doing freaking nothing, which nobody enjoys. And then from LA to New York, it's 5 or 6 hours anyway. There you go. There's your 9 hours. The exact same amount of time, except now, in New York, I've landed. Now I have to wait for my baggage, 20, 30 minutes. Now I have to go figure out how am I getting from here to the center of Manhattan. I don't know how long that takes, let's say another half hour. And then from there, now I had to get on another train to go to my metro. Instead of, now I've just gone from union to union, and there you go. I get on the next train, virtually the same amount of time. And if you're participating in this program, you just get free use of all this stuff. Because now you have these people that if a train breaks down, you have a group of people who are trained mechanics, trained technicians who can go and fix the train, put it back in service. Like if there's an issue with the track, whatever, they go and they fix this. It's like we focus on training people in unskilled labor. Sitting at a computer, programming, different. Sitting at a computer, analyzing numbers for investments, that's not skilled. That's not a skill. That's being good at math. And that being good at math could go towards so many other productive things. You could be a physicist, you could be a researcher, you could be, oh my God, so many things that, an engineer, so many things that would actually help people. But instead we use it to make more money and to sit behind the computer and look at stocks of, oh, this changed incrementally, half a cent over the last 3 weeks, and I think I should buy $1 billion worth of that. It's bullshit. It's all bullshit. So, yeah, I mean, I think that pretty much summarizes a lot of it. I'm going to rewatch this, and then maybe when I do the other part, we'll get back into it. But if you've made it this far, thank you for sitting through this, listening to my craziness. If you guys enjoy this, I will do more. If it doesn't really pick up and nobody's really interested, I'm not going to continue this. But if I do continue, my next episodes would be obviously the one about me, and figuring out whatever I want to tweak about this one and clarifying anything. That'd be one about drugs, transparency in government, which I think would be a bit outside of the usual thought process, illegal immigration, and probably those three for now. And then, if those continued, then I'll start figuring more out. But thank you for sitting through this. I appreciate it. Peace and love. Have a good one.